Hello and welcome to my YouTube channel. I'm Judith Patterson. I'm an independent Stampin' Up! Demonstrator in Texas, and today I'm going to show you a card from the catalog. So once a week I like to hop onto YouTube and just demonstrate how to make a card out of one of Stampin' Up's publications. So this time will probably be my last, I think I might have said that last week too, card out of the 2021 to 2022 annual catalog. This catalog will be ending and leaving us soon. Next May 3rd, I think it's next Wednesday, our new catalog will launch, so that's going to be exciting, and there's all kinds of great stuff in there that I'm just dying to show you. But for now, I'm going to stick with this catalog because it's a great catalog too, and we won't be using it much longer. Alright, so I'm going to put my glasses on so I can see what I'm doing, and switch this over to the desktop camera so you can see this is the catalog I'm talking about. And I'm going to flip over to page 21. Now, our last chance list went out at the end of March, and this stamp set was on it, and it has already sold out. So I'm not going to use this stamp set. It's a great, fantastic stamp set, but I'm not going to be using it. I am going to be using Celebrate Sunflowers instead, and the card I'm going to be making, you might have guessed since I'm using the florals, is this one right here. I changed the color scheme a little bit, and I changed this piece of paper, this designer series paper here. So let's start stamping. That's really all I changed, and it is a pretty simple card, and there's lots of great things that you can do with this set. Okay, so the first thing I'm going to do is get just a scrap of paper. This is kind of a long and skinny scrap of paper. It's just what I have handy on my desk. I'm just going to stamp the sunflower a couple of times. There's one. There's two. And I'm just using the Tuxedo Black Memento ink. I use this ink pad all the time. In fact, I'm going to leave it out because I'm going to grab a scrap piece of Balmy Blue. I forgot to cut this down earlier, but that's okay. And I'm going to use Congratulations on Reaching a Whole New Level of Wonderful. And I'm putting it on at an angle just because I feel like it fits on there a little bit better that way. So all of our stamps come unmounted. There's photopolymer, which are clear, and then you have these cling stamps, which are red rubber. And we put them on these clear blocks to help it to make it easier to see where we're stamping. Okay. I'm finished with that ink. I'm going to let that sit for just a little bit longer. I like to make sure that when I'm going to be coloring with blends, or really anything, I like to make sure that my ink is nice and dry before I start coloring with it. Alright, so I have my cutting tool angled a little weird here, but I'm sure it'll be fine. So I'm going to cut off the bottom. And then I'm going to cut the top off of this one so that it is 1.5 inches. And no, I want smaller than that. Let's see if I can trim just a smidge off and make this be 1.25 inches. Oh, look at that. So I didn't use this one. When I was doing my practice card, I used "Know That You Are Loved" as my sentiment instead, and I made my cardstock just a little bit smaller. I think I made it 1/4 of an inch smaller. So I'm going to go ahead and trim off just a little bit on this side and just a little bit on, let's see, no, I'm going to go a little bit more. And I think that looks good. So it's right at 2.5 inches this way. Okay, so I think that's sat long enough. I'm going to start with a light crumb cake. No, this is my dark crumb cake. I thought I grabbed the light one. That's okay. So I'm just going to go around where all these dots are in the center of the sunflower. Just kind of messy. Then I'm going to get my dark, soft succulent. I love this color. And I'm just going to go over these dark places on the leaves. And I'm coloring both flowers exactly the same. And this is just a real quick way to throw down some ink on these sunflowers. Get them colored really quickly. And again, I'm using the dark Daffodil Delight. And this time going over just the lines, the accent marks, I guess, on the sunflower petals. Then I'm going to use the lighter of these colors to blend these in. I love blends because you can blend. I think that's the perfect name for these alcohol markers. Okay, so now I'm just going to, so I said I'm going to take the lighter ones. The crumb cake, I'm going to go ahead and use the dark one. And I'm just using the brush tip and going across, making sure I fill in the gaps here. Then this is the light, soft succulent. And then the light Daffodil Delight. Oops, I forgot to do the leaves on this flower. I'll go back and do that. And I am going to add another layer of yellow to that, just still using the light Daffodil Delight blend. But I wanted to go ahead and add this before I forgot. There we go. Okay, so I'm going to blend this a little bit more. There we go. So now those are finished. I'm just going to grab my mini stamp cut and emboss machine. Oh, I moved my camera. Whoops. Decided to go ahead and cut these apart. I think they might fit a little bit easier through here. love having dies to cut out images like this so that I don't have to sit and fussy cut them. I don't mind fussy cutting sometimes, but when I don't have to, it sure is a treat. Close this up, set it to the side. Now, the card base I decided to use is the soft succulent to match the leaves. And then the designer series paper I'm using is Pattern Party. This designer series paper is my favorite. If you watched my videos before, you've probably seen me use it because I use it all the time. So this is some of the patterns in the paper. The back side of this piece is that polka dot. There's so many great patterns in this paper set. Oh, somehow I ended up with an extra one of those in there. So this is available with Host Rewards. So if you place a $150 order or have a party, you can get the Pattern Party paper, and it's a huge set of paper. And you can use it with pretty much anything. So I'm going to be sad to see that go. And honestly, I'm surprised it's still available, but I checked just before recording this video, and it is still available. Okay, so I'm just going to put this maybe a little more than halfway up. Not halfway, half an inch up. And it's cut to 2 inches by 4 3/4 inches. And I'm hoping I didn't mess up cutting it that short. Alright, so I'm going to grab some dimensionals. And I'm going to place this to where it's just hanging off the edge a little bit. Then I'm going to put some more dimensionals on these. I'm going to kind of decide where I want them to decide where I'm going to be placing these dimensionals. Okay, so I'm just going to place that in a little bit. And you can put a little dab of liquid glue on the edge of this, the part that's going to be over this balmy blue piece of cardstock, if you want to. I don't think it needs it. I'm not going to do that to mine. But it's always an option. So there's that, and this one. Okay. So I'm going to do 3. I'm going to put one on this tip, and then one. Actually, I think I want this out and this one to come in a little. I don't want my dimensionals on top of something that's already popped up. I want it all to be a pretty even layer. There we go. And then I have polished dots. So polished dots are what was used in the catalog, but they used the Calypso Coral with their color scheme. I'm going to be using the clear polished dots. Actually, these aren't clear, they're very vanilla, but they're pretty clear. Okay. So I'm going to start with one of these smaller ones, just right down here by this leaf, kind of hanging off. Then I'm going to get a bigger one and put it here. Then a smaller one up beside that. Then I'm going to do 3 more over here, and I'm placing them almost exactly like they are in the catalog. I want this one actually tucked under, so that one's a little different. So there we go. There's our very quick card from the catalog today. So let me show you what I'm going to do to the inside of this one. I'm going to grab just my 4" by 5 1/4" piece of basic white. And I have just a 1/2" strip of the DSP that I used on the front. Just get some liquid glue to go all the way across there. And then I'll use my paper snips to cut that extra bit off. There we go. Okay, and then for the envelope, I guess I should go ahead and put this in the card, huh? So I'm using liquid glue to get on the back. If you prefer, you can always use the Snell. I really like the liquid glue. I'm going to put this on the top. It's going to be different than what I normally do. Step outside my comfort box there. There we go. Put it on the top. I like that. Okay, and then for the envelope, I'm going to open up this flap of my silicone mat. I'm going to take my liquid glue and I'm just going to put a little bit of glue going around the edge of this flap. And I want to get pretty close to the edge. It's important to make sure that your flap is open in case you smear some glue out. You don't want it to glue your flap shut. Okay, and then I have just a scrap piece here. I'm going to save a bunch of this, but I'm going to go ahead and just use the whole thing, put it on here, smooth it down. I do want to close this and make sure it's not hanging off the edge. So I like the glue for this because I can slide it down just a little bit if I've got it too close to the top. Okay, that looks good. Now I can trim this off. So as long as you have a scrap left over that is 6 inches by 2 1/4 inches, you should be able to do your flap like this. This is one of my favorite ways to decorate envelopes. It's quick, it's cute, just a little bit of fun extra. Okay, that looks good. And then if you wanted to, you could also stamp a sunflower on the front. Instead of doing both, I had a piece of scrap printer paper in here so that when my blends bled through, it didn't go through the envelope. So you could do both, or you could do one or the other. I like them both, and they would be cute together. But either one is great with this card. And then on the inside, instead of just doing the strip of DSP, you could also stamp another sunflower. So lots of options there as far as finishing out the card and just giving it that little bit of extra. Let me clean off my desk so you can see these. There we go. And let me know what you think in the comments. You can go ahead and let me know, do you like the DSP on the envelope flap, or do you prefer to stamp your envelopes, or do you not decorate your envelopes at all? I used to never decorate my envelopes, but now I hardly make a card without a decorated envelope. Alright, thank you so much for watching. I appreciate every single one of you. If you haven't already subscribed to my channel, I would totally appreciate it if you would do that. And of course, I always love it when I get a thumbs up. If you want to place an order this month, April's host code is up there in the top corner. It's J4GEKXXX, and it's good until the end of April, and then it'll be changing. So use that host code if you're placing an order under $150, and you'll get something in the mail from me. And if you're placing an order over $150, then don't use the host code, because then you get host rewards, and I'll still send you something in the mail too. So again, thanks for watching. I hope you're having a fabulous day. Happy stamping!